Right then, onto the Golf. If you saw the video when we were at Brands Hatch, we went and picked this up off Nick. So, what Scott said, the brief for this project was we're going to buy a Golf Cup car that's got no engine in it, we'll put an engine in and away we go. So as you'll see from this video, it's absolutely nothing like that at all. And Scott sat up in office saying how fast he wants it to be, telling me what I need to do, and I'm down here trying to organise it all. So, as you can see, he was correct about one thing. It needs an engine, but then there's plenty of other stuff it actually needs, so I'll get out of here. It was a good idea at the time to be in here, but it's not now. There I go. Obviously, you won't be able to do that if it had suspension, so we'll come to that in a minute. So, in the car is a gearbox. Don't know why that's been put there, but it is. And not really tons else. Is obviously got the dash and a standard steering wheel. Really nice cage, which is one of the selling points of this car, I suppose. Is a nice cage. Pretty clean. It doesn't look like it's been smashed up too many times. It's got a little bit of damage here and there, but not much. Needs a screen, but that's slick tyres and stone chips and loads of forces going through the chassis that's caused that. As you can see as well when Mel's hitting dual weight camera, there's absolutely no wiring in this car at all. I don't think I've seen any copper when I've been looking around this car, so we've got a lot of work to do. The pedal box is in there, which is just a Tilton one. I'll put some pictures of that. The wrong side to be talking about it, but everything else is pretty like this is just a mess. It's a ton of work. So the plans we've got for inside are going to be seat out of, probably going to be, we're going to nick one out of A5 because that's still in date, but motor drive bucket seat, OMP deep dish steering wheel, same as what we've got in Ibiza. Mk6 dash maybe, if it's going to go in easy enough. Flock that. Steph at SRS is going to do that against his will. That's pretty much going to be it as far as interior trim. Wiring wise, there's going to be tons to go in because we're going to be running ABS, and we're going to try and make this as neat and tidy as possible. So we're potentially going to have Cosworth dash for data logging, which we've already got one of them into Rosa. Does way more than we need it to, but we'll use it. And a solid state power distribution module, so we didn't have to have any fuses or any relays. We'll see how that pans out in planning stages before we go down that route, but it should be a nice neat loom. We'll take all standard one, rip all rubbish off that we don't need, cover it over with some nice shielding and stuff, tie it up nicely, make a nice neat job of that. If we don't know what we're doing, we're at least going to have a good go at doing that. We've got a nice shifter coming as well, forgot about that, because this was a DSG car, so we've got a nice shifter coming. When that comes, we'll take some pictures of that. Exterior wise, it's got the full cut body kit on. It's got some little bits of damage here and there, paint's peeled in places, but no that we can't sort out. Should be a fairly straightforward job what we need to do with it anyway. But this, I think, I don't know how it bloody works, it never seems to work for me. There we go, that works. So, not got anything trimmed out here and all like that. Fairly straightforward. So we ain't got tons of chassis prep to do, but we'll get it up in air and we'll have a look what we've done and what we've had and what we haven't got. So as you can see, there's absolutely nothing under here at the minute. We've took all the subframes off. Only a few drippy brake hoses that they're going to be getting changed as well. Front panel's a bit bent and twisted, so we're going to sort all that out. Make it all nice and easy to work on. Spider's web kicking about there. So it's not a bad car underneath. Rear axle's all gone. Standard fuel tank, we'll probably retain that, but we might end up getting something a bit fancier later on, depending what sort of endurance races we end up in. So I'll look at what were on this car when we got it, and then you'll see another reason why it probably went bargain at Century, and it definitely didn't just want a engine in it and we could go racing. So it's got KW competition dampers, all fancy. Top mounts are dead on this side, that's well used. AST springs, I think there's a bit of a crossover of what dampers and springs these use in VW Cup. This hub, which side will this on? This is the passenger side, yeah. This one's a Passat one, aluminium, so that's strange. But then, because everybody generally ran what they call TTRS, but they weren't, they were just normal TT. But this one's a TT. There's a decent amount of difference in the geometry of them that's not really easy to see on camera, but basically one of the track rods has to be wound all the way in, as you can see there, and one of them has to be wound quite a bit out to make them line up. So this car's definitely had something happen on that corner, and they've just took them off and not put a matching set back on. This were interesting, I've not seen these before. A little like lock that goes in here just to make that round again, so that if you're maxing them out for your camber, which these usually do, then you're not going to, if you hit a curb, it's not going to push it back in. So I thought that was quite interesting. So yeah, they don't match, so all that's going in bin, and we're fitting the brand new TT hubs on this, rather than, these are the 8J, or this one's the 8J, but we're going to fit a 8S TT hub, because they're different, they're what the TCR cars use. We're going to put our wheel studs in as well, not these ones. We'll be getting new wheel bearings and stuff. These were the brakes that it had. So these were TTRS 4 pots with some fancy pads. I can't remember what pads they were. I think they're Mk6 1144s or something like that. But they're past the best anyway. Sold these calipers to Dan. I was going to put them on his, I think he's put them on a Honda Civic or something like that. And these discs, floating again, like what we've got on A5, but these are a bit different. The wear item for the floatiness, if that's what we want to call it, is the actual bell itself. So the bell's sort of the drive plate, or whatever you want to call it. It's probably a technical term. So these are not the type that I'd want to run, because you do wear these out quicker, like the other ones that we like to run. The disc's what floats, rather than the bell, if you get what I mean. So anyway, but this disc combination and this caliper combination just didn't fit this car. I can't believe somebody's raced on it without it, well, there were spaces all over the place and bodged up. I'm hoping it would just put like that to sell it, but looking at how crusty it all was, it's been raced like that, which not ideal. White line anti-roll bar, so we're probably going to just retain this. There's no point buying a new one. I might get it powder coated or whatever before we put it on. We've ordered all new track rods and ends and stuff like that, and just use them as spares if we need to. This subframe's no good because the bolts are cross-threaded for that, and the anti-roll. What else is cross-threaded in it? I think one of the other ones is cross-threaded, so new subframe's going to have to go in. Bottom arms, they're the TT ones, they're kicking about over here somewhere. These have got some poly bushers in, offset ones, not the ones that we'd use Powerflex, but just genuine TTRs, the 8J. So I think, I don't like to make a bold claim, but I've never heard anybody doing that, and we fitted all this stuff to our Jetta, got to be 9 years ago maybe, something like that, when the TTs first came out. So we know all about this conversion, what needs to be done, but these are just going to be our spares, because we've got some really nice stuff coming in a week or two. So when that comes, we'll talk about that. Steering rack, we're ditching this electric power steering setup, because it's just weighs an absolute ton. Rear axle, this looked a bit strange when we first bought the car. Sorry about everything just getting dumped here, it's a right mess, but we've been busy. This is a Mk6 Golf axle. Now when we questioned why we got a Mk6 Golf axle and this is a Mk5 with a Mk6 front end, that's because the new Mk6 Golfs that race in the VW Cup, it were easier just to put all the Mk5, Mk6 stuff on them than it was to get new dampers, because the dampers go down to the bottom arm rather than onto the hub like they do on the earlier stuff. And just basically what they've ended up doing with the Mk7s is drop everything off a Mk6 or Mk5 and put it in. I think the only thing that they keep is a front subframe, and yeah, I think it's just front subframe and bottom arms maybe. So everything else they swap to this type of stuff. So rear hub wise, they're what we've got, just some used TT rear hubs. So they're going to go on there, but we'll get them all cleaned up and all these bits that are seized in took off and whatever, and we'll put the never seized stuff in. New subframe to go back on, and then these were the wheels and tyres that came with the car, and they're not a matching set either, there's a pair and another pair. So we've got just loads of unpicking to do, but from what we've found using the Ibiza and trying to use bits that you piece together from here, there and everywhere, and making your own stuff, and trying to find stuff cheap on eBay, like buying second-hand wheels and stuff like that. It just makes it an absolute pain when you get to the track and you have a problem. You try to fit in a wheel and you need a bigger spacer. You can't find the spacers. You're trying to fit a bottom arm and the bottom arm drug. So we're going to try and keep all this documented all the way through, not just in a video, in actual written documentation, so that when we're at the track, we've got the spares, we've got them in where we need them, and we can just go pick them and get what we want. So all this stuff's going to be, mostly going to be disappearing. Some of the stuff's going into the spares, like I said. So I'm going to sift through all that now and get all that done. The brakes are going. These struts, I'm not too sure what we're going to do with these. We'll probably just keep them as spares for now, but we need a new top mount bearing for that one, which is painful. Them ups just need to go. So bodywork wise, it needs a little bit of stuff. These inner arches are an absolute pain because these cover up quite a lot of crap, so people just make them look a mess. So we're going to do that properly, tidy all that up and get it ready. Shiny bits, there's not much. There's some stuff on the shelf, but not too interesting at minute, especially as it's not an assembly. So the only other shiny bit that we've got to look at is this Bill Stein Club Sport kit. So I'll have a look in here, see what we've got. So Walter Roll, he says it's good, it must be good. I don't know what's in here, so I'll have a look. So I think something has been in here before me. What comes with lanyard. Ah, I know what that's for. Adjuster, C-spanner. There's plenty of stickers, so we're getting some cheap advertising. Very sneaky. So get it all ripped out. So this is the damper. So these, being the Club Sports, which I'll pull these springs off, so just going to get it away for now. You've got normal spring, that's an 100 Newton, which is quite an heavy spring. Little helper spring, that's just to stop that spring cockling over when you lift up. Just get that out of the way. So these inverted damper again, like what we had on A5. And these being a two-way adjustment, they've got two knobs on them. So I can't remember which way around it is, but I'm assuming that the red one is the bump. So like a normal set of dampers, you're adjusting the bump. So just twist that. That means when the wheel gets a smack, it's harder for it to go up. Now what this other knob's doing, which has got this little key, if it works. There we go, it's a height bugger to get in. Obviously this is normally held pretty firmly in the car, so you're not going to be fighting with it. but what the other knobs do in here, that's the rebound. So you bump when the wheel gets, you hit a curb or you hit a bump, the wheel goes up. That bump is the stiffness of that. What the rebound stiffness is how hard the damper wants to push it back down. So obviously the spring's going to try and push it back down, but the damper's also got the forces it needs to push it back down. So when you've only got one-way adjustment, you're going up with a bump, the rebound could be doing absolutely anything. It could be going backwards, it could be going forwards compared to what you want to do. But what we need is to have ultimate control over this. So there'll be a lot more things to be playing with. We'll get the balance of the car right with the anti-roll bars, the spring rates, and then we can get the bump and the rebound somewhere in here. You know, we're going to start somewhere. Then we're just going to have to do a couple of laps, come in, a couple of clicks, keep going until we get the sort of turning that we want and the exit that we want. So this is where the magic's going to be in the rebound, because that is what made a massive difference on our Ibiza. Because the problem with most off-the-shelf dampers, when you're clicking the bump up, the rebound's not doing what you want it to do. Generally, they've just not got enough rebound. So hopefully we can get more doing that. But anyway, I digress. Put these back. So with these not having out on the top, I'm assuming some more adjuster spanners. So these boxes here must be the top mounts and the bolt for the top mount. So yeah, that's nice bit of machining. Can't really cockle over anywhere. You just loosen them off, slide it along and get more camber. So that should work pretty good. Hopefully get as much as we need with that. Let's have a look what else we got then. That's just another top mount. Need to unbox two of them. That is another front, so we don't need that. What's in here then? So rear top mounts. They are snazzy. I'd have thought these would just be a piece of pressed steel, but that's a nice bit of machining, that. 10.9 hardware as well. So that's a rear top mount. Normally, you can see them on them ones, they're just like a cast piece of aluminium or aluminum with rubber inside. So we don't want any rubber if we can help it on this car. They're the rear adjuster cups. Nothing too interesting in there, if I can get into it. Yeah, rear adjusters. Big to get to a Mk5 platform. I'd have loved to have gone for a divorce setup. Come away from the divorce setup like the TCR cars. It's just a proper coilover on the back, but you need wide arches to get away with that. Rear spring, 75 Newton spring, so that's fairly hard. But I've got a little bit more leverage over on these springs, so I need to work out the motion ratio on the rear. But I'd assume with that spring it's going to be about 0.6 or something like that. So rear dampers, these don't need to be out too fancy, but they are. So there we go, you've got the bump and the rebound again. There we go. Nice spherical bearing on the top. Look at that, that's a nice thing. So that goes into there basically. And then that end with the bush goes into it goes to the hub on these. Just a normal, not an inverted tube on this one. So that should be able to get to that without jacking car up if you lean round, I think. So yeah, Bilstein's done it again. Supplied us a nice kit. Spoke to a couple of people about it before we ordered it and they said they'll do what you need them to do. So hopefully when all the other bits come, it's going to be like a big Meccano set. I've just ordered a load of nuts and bolts, and that's cost, I think, nearly 400 quid in genuine new nuts and bolts for the suspension. So we'll get all the old crap out of the way, get all the new stuff in, get it all laid out, have a talk through what we're doing and how we're going to work it, and yeah, hopefully it's not months and months away to get this done, but we've still got the gearbox that's in there to build, got a full engine to build, and yeah, it's going to be a lot of work. The plan, engine-wise, that's going to be a common rail, same as the Citigo, but we only need it to be, depending which, see how competitive the car is, because we're in a championship where it's power to weight, so you can do whatever you want to the engine. If you make it 1,000 horsepower, you just have to make it weigh 10 tonne. So we need to find that balance between power and weight. The car wants to be as light as it can be because you're taking the weight everywhere. The power's only going to make a difference on the straights. So we're going to try and make this light, not going mental and using titanium and carbon fibre and all this stuff, because if you have a little accident, you want it to cost you 10 grand. But we also want it to be a competitive car, do the diesel engines proud. So the engine's going to be like a common rail, Citigo sort of spec, so it could be 360 horsepower, but we're only really going to need, depending on how light we get this, probably 220. If we go up to the next sort of, maybe 230, if we go up to the next sort of category up, which puts us in the middle of some cars rather than like at the minute we're at the top, we're in class B, which is D, C and B racing together, so B being the fastest. If we go to A or S, we'd be stuck between B, A and S, so we're probably going to end up sticking with B, sticking with that power, maybe do another year or so doing that. But we could potentially, if the championship will allow us to, we could race in the Super Cup and the Track Day Championship, and it'd be nice if they'd let us. We pretty much only need to switch maps. How we do that, it's probably not going to be like everybody else does. We flick a switch mid-race and get another 50 horsepower. But we'll probably see what we can do. So I want to see how fast it is, but if we get another 50 horsepower in this car and it's only half a second a lap quicker, it's pointless, because these other cars are 2 and 3 seconds a lap quicker from having another 25 horsepower per tonne, which is like 30 or 40 horsepower. So we'll do some testing, see what we think, but pretty much this car's going to replace the Ibiza after the last race of this season, so we'll see what happens. So anyway, if you like this, like us, share, subscribe, and keep an eye out for future updates.